They entered a forest where every compass suddenly stopped working. Some forests hide ancient ruins, others hide predators, but this forest hides something stranger, an invisible force that makes every compass useless and leaves those who enter questioning reality itself. But losing their direction was only the beginning. There is a forest in Romania, deep in the Carpathian Mountains, where compasses don't point north. They spin, they drift, they freeze entirely, and no one, not geologists, not physicists, not the military scientists who visited in 2019, has been able to explain why. The forest is called Hoia Baciu. Locals have avoided it for centuries. They say animals won't enter it. Dogs go silent at the tree line. Birds don't fly over the clearing in its center. That clearing is perfectly circular. No trees grow inside it. The soil has been tested. Nothing is wrong with it. Seeds planted there by researchers died within days, not from lack of nutrients, not from disease. They simply stopped growing. The first documented incident happened in 1968. A military technician named Emil Barnea entered the forest with a group of friends. He had a camera. He had a compass. Within 20 minutes, the compass was useless, spinning continuously, unable to lock onto any direction. Then he saw something above the clearing. He photographed it. The photograph was analyzed by the Romanian Institute of Aeronautics. They could not identify the object. They could not explain the light pattern. They filed a report, classified it, and told Barnea not to speak about it publicly. He spoke about it anyway. But that photograph is not the strangest thing to come out of Hoia Baciu. The strangest thing is what happens to the people who go in and come back out. They come out changed, not in ways they can describe clearly. Rashes appear on their skin, circular, symmetrical, with no medical cause. Headaches that last for weeks. A persistent feeling of being watched. Some report gaps in memory, not large gaps, just minutes, sometimes seconds, where they cannot account for what happened. In 2019, a team of 4 scientists entered the forest with electromagnetic sensors, thermal cameras, and GPS equipment. They planned to stay for 72 hours. They stayed for 61. On the 3rd day, their GPS units began reporting coordinates that placed them outside the forest, in some cases, miles away, while they were standing still in the same clearing, watching it happen in real time. One researcher, Dr. Adrian Constantine, later said in an interview, "We left because the data stopped making sense, not because we were afraid. We left because continuing felt irrational." That word, irrational, from a scientist. That is where this story begins. Hoia Baciu has been documented since at least the 15th century. Medieval Romanian texts refer to it as Pădurea Nebună, the mad forest. Travelers were warned to avoid the western edge of the Carpathians near Cluj-Napoca, not because of bandits, not because of wolves, but because of the forest that made men lose their minds. Local villages kept records. In 1715, a shepherd entered the clearing with a flock of 200 sheep. He was found 3 days later on the edge of the forest, alone, disoriented, unable to explain what had happened. The sheep were never found. In 1840, a young girl from the village of Baciu walked into the forest during a harvest festival. She was 5 years old. She was missing for 5 years. When she returned, she was wearing the same clothes. She had not aged. She had no memory of the 5 years. Medical examination by a local physician recorded in a handwritten log that her physical condition was identical to the day she disappeared. Same height, same weight, same milk teeth she had not yet lost when she vanished. That log still exists. It is held in the Cluj-Napoca National Archives. These are not stories. These are documented records, written by people who had no reason to fabricate them, filed in archives that have no reason to preserve fabrications. The forest sits on approximately 250 hectares of land. Inside, the trees grow in unusual patterns, twisted, bent at angles that defy the direction of sunlight, many of them scorched at the base without any record of fire. Some trees grow in perfect spirals, not one direction, bi-directional spirals, where the trunk appears to have been rotated by a force that then reversed itself. Dendrochronologists, scientists who study tree rings, examined several of these trees in 2004. They found something that has not been explained. The rings were irregular, not randomly irregular, patterned, alternating between years of normal growth and years of almost no growth, with no correlation to climate data, no correlation to drought records, no correlation to any external event they could identify. Something inside the forest was periodically suppressing the growth of its own trees. Something cyclical, something that repeated. In 2011, a geological survey team conducted ground-penetrating radar scans of the soil beneath the circular clearing. They expected to find rock formations, underground water, or mineral deposits that might explain the dead zone. They found a cavity, approximately 40 meters below the surface, roughly oval in shape, 11 meters at its widest point. It contained no water. It contained no rock. It appeared, on radar, to be empty. But the radar signal that penetrated it came back distorted. Not weakened, not reflected, distorted, as if something inside the cavity had altered the signal during the fraction of a second it passed through. The team submitted their findings to the Romanian Ministry of Environment. The report was received. No follow-up survey has ever been conducted. No explanation has ever been provided. What makes Hoia Baciu different from other so-called haunted forests is this. It has a paper trail, not folklore, not second-hand accounts, documents, measurements, instruments that malfunctioned in reproducible, consistent ways. Every team that has entered the forest with electromagnetic equipment has recorded the same anomaly. A persistent electromagnetic field in the clearing that measures between 50 and 80 milligauss, roughly 4 times the normal background level of the surrounding forest. This field does not fluctuate with weather. It does not fluctuate with time of day. It is constant. This field is why compasses fail. The local magnetic distortion is strong enough to override Earth's geomagnetic field within a radius of approximately 30 meters around the clearing's center. Step outside that radius and your compass works perfectly. Step inside and it doesn't. That much can be explained, at least partially. Localized magnetic anomalies exist in other places on Earth. They are unusual, but not impossible. Iron-rich rock formations, underground mineral deposits, certain geological faults can produce them. But here is what cannot be explained. In 2016, a physicist named Dr. Ionut Marian brought ground-level radiation sensors into the forest. Background radiation in the surrounding area measured at a normal 0.15 microsieverts per hour. Inside the clearing, it measured at 0.15 microsieverts per hour. Identical. Then he left the sensors running overnight. By 3 o'clock in the morning, the sensors inside the clearing were reading 0.43 microsieverts per hour, nearly triple, with no change in the sensors placed outside the forest boundary. By 5 a.m., the levels had returned to normal. His thermal cameras showed no activity in the clearing during this period. His motion sensors showed nothing. The radiation levels had spiked, peaked, and returned to baseline during a 4-hour window with no identifiable source. He returned the following night. Same result, same window, almost exactly the same peak level. He returned for 7 consecutive nights. Same pattern, every night. He published his findings in a Romanian scientific journal in 2017. The paper received one response from a geophysicist in Bucharest who suggested underground radon gas as a possible cause. Dr. Marian tested for radon. The levels were negligible. He said so in a follow-up paper. The conversation ended there. There is also this. In 2018, a documentary crew from a German production company spent 4 nights in the forest. They brought 12 cameras, thermal, night vision, standard high definition. On the 3rd night, at approximately 2:30 a.m., 5 of their 12 cameras simultaneously recorded a temperature drop of 11 degrees Celsius in the center of the clearing. The drop lasted 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Then the temperature returned to normal. 5 cameras, simultaneously, 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The production company sent the footage to a meteorological institute for analysis. The institute confirmed the temperature anomaly was genuine. They said they could not explain it. They recommended the footage be sent to a physics department for further analysis. The documentary crew sent it to 3 universities. None of them responded. The footage is publicly available. No one has explained it. Here is what we know. Hoia Baciu is a real forest in a real country with a real, documented history of anomalies that have resisted explanation for over 300 years. The compasses fail, the radiation spikes at night, the trees grow wrong, the clearing kills everything planted in it. The GPS coordinates become fiction. The cavity beneath the surface distorts radar signals in ways that should not be physically possible. Scientists have gone in, scientists have come out, and almost without exception, they have said the same thing. Not that it is supernatural, not that it is extraterrestrial, but that they do not have a framework within which the data makes sense. That is a precise and important statement. It does not mean the forest is haunted. It does not mean there are UFOs above the clearing. It means that something is happening there that sits outside the boundaries of what current science can model. Dr. Constantine, the researcher who left on day 3, was interviewed again in 2022. He was asked if he would go back. He said yes. He said, "The only reason to leave a problem you cannot solve is fear. I am not afraid of Hoia Baciu. I am afraid of the possibility that we are not asking the right questions yet. But that is not a reason to stop asking." He has not returned. He has said publicly he is waiting for better instruments, better sensors, better tools. And maybe that is the most honest answer anyone has given about this forest. Not that it is beyond understanding, but that we are not yet equipped to understand it. The clearing is still there. The compasses still spin. The radiation still spikes at 3 o'clock in the morning, peaks at 0.43, and returns to baseline by 5 a.m., like something waking up, doing whatever it does, and going back to sleep every night whether anyone is watching or not. Watch closely next time someone tells you science has explained everything. Some forests are still keeping their secrets. What they discovered has never been fully explained, and some believe the forest still refuses to let certain visitors leave unchanged.